guys, but your guys just played a 3-and-D game from start to finish. What was it that allowed you guys to be so intense offensively and create all those 3-pointers?
Well, you never know how the game kind of unfolds and is going to play out. I do know defensively, St. Bonaventure's tendency, they protect the paint. But I think our ball movement, our use of the pick and roll, we still got to the paint. Now, we didn't get shots up there, but I think their defense is designed not to give too many looks there. And we made the right passes, the right plays, and we got a lot of catch and shoot opportunities. I can't think of how many of that 14 were off the bounce, if any at all. I believe most of them were catch and shoot opportunities. Maybe Max had one off the bounce, but it was just a side. It was off of a shot fake, if I recall, which is still a good shot. Those are the opportunities and shots that we want to create. And we did it through post play, we did it through penetration. So, yeah, we didn't have a huge output in the paint, but I'll take our 14 makes from 3.
Drew, what have you liked about Max's production over the last 2 games, especially from 3-point range?
He shot the ball incredibly well. I think it was only a matter of time if you just check, the history of Max over the past 2 years. He's been a 35% 3-point shooter. Shooting that 17 and 19% was just, to me, not his reality. And I think it's a credit to his hard work. He's in the gym. And when you put in the work, it's good to finally see some of the results. And I just think, through us remaining patient and confident, he held on to his confidence as well too. He knew he could perform better, and he stepped up and he's had some huge output the last 2 games, but he's made shots for about 5 games in a row. It's just been a trickling, slow effect, and I think the last 2 have been blow-ups.
Coach, the Duquesne faithful pretty much came out today in the stands. Just kind of talk about how much that helps the team when you see that outpouring of support, and I hope that can continue going forward.
Well, I had to calm the guys down. I don't watch warm-ups, but all the coaches come back and kind of update me. Said they just told me that our guys probably had the best sweat going into a game that they've had all season, and it was the anticipation of, you could feel the atmosphere was going to be different, right? As you get deeper in the A-10 play, you start playing teams who are your rival, you start winning more games. Like you said, the Duquesne faithful was out today. Shout out to them. I'm glad they showed up. And we've had, we've had our fans show up all game, but we came a little bit stronger today, so I appreciate that, and our guys do too. So they relished the moment to perform well in front of our fans, and I think they did a tremendous job. But I did have to kind of calm them down and let them know, like, hey, it's okay to feel those emotions, right? But you gotta just embrace the moment and just do what you do. You can't become someone else or try to go outside of what we've done. And I thought they followed our strategy and our plan to a T.
Coach, early in the second half, when the offense started struggling a little bit, kept finding Cam Crawford, Trey Dinkins were slipping into the corner for some open threes late in the shot clock. What do you credit that to? Is it movement? Is it ball movement? Is it just instincts?
Yeah, it was ball movement and player movement. I think the opening possessions of that second half, they applied pressure. We kind of got stuck. We tried to run a couple sets, and it didn't operate very well. As coaches, we think we got the solution all the time, and we draw up a new play, and it just didn't come to form, right? So blame me for that opening possession more than our players, right? Wasn't the right call. We got back into some sets we were comfortable with, and we found a way to get some open looks. And those guys, in that moment, like those Cam threes were huge, right? Because they were starting to build some momentum.
Coach, both teams actually had the same amount of rebounds. You guys actually trailed in offensive rebounds, but it felt like you had much more of a presence at the rim. What was your strategy in nullifying the bigs, especially Jones and Brown?
Yeah, we want to protect the paint, and our roster, I believe we have some good length, and we have depth. Jakob, Eli, Chavi, Dave Dixon, Matoush is even better around the basket than he's ever been in years past. And then Max Edwards and Cam Crawford. And then our guards are feisty. You'll see Kareem, he's not afraid to get in the mix. We knew they shoot about 23s a game, but they've been dominating in the paint, whether it's been Council slashing or Noel Brown just finding his way, and he's very efficient. So we just tried to fight every post cut, every post catch and entry that they wanted to throw to him today. And a big key was making sure that on any drive that we came to the basketball and tried to wall up.
One concern in the past couple of weeks has been the big men in the last 4 teams have been able to have good outings if you include Brown's 19-10 and Castro's 27-point out. Is that a byproduct of making sure that the guards don't beat you from deep, and it's something that you're willing to accept, or is there things that you guys can improve on that?
We got to improve, right? I think it's hand in hand sometimes. Some of those baskets were generated by Melvin Council, right? So that may not fall on the big. That may be more the guard's responsibility. He may have to be better in the pick and roll. I do believe though we gotta stop bigs from getting second chance points in deep post position. When he was effective on his post catches, it's because he was 2 to 3 feet away from the basket. You go back to the George Washington game, it was Brown out rebounding us. So there's a lot of things that go into guys' production at times, whether it be our pick and roll defense wasn't great, or we just couldn't guard them in the post. But we do have to be stronger. I go back even to the Davidson game with Reed Bailey. I thought he kind of outplayed us for a stretch there, and we didn't guard him well. But we have to do a better job team defensively of not allowing guys to feel comfortable playing one-on-one. We got to have more activity.
Dru, you beat this team by almost 20 points. What has been the difference between, and this is a question everybody asks, between the beginning and now? And you're not a very emotional guy, but how hard is it for you to keep that?
Emotions.
How hard is it for you to keep that smile? I mean, do you step back and go, whoa? I mean, what has been the difference between the beginning and now?
Growth, right? From myself, from our staff, from the players, right? I think our culture was right. I do believe the building blocks and the values were there. It just wasn't coming together. But I hold myself accountable. I wasn't great. I wasn't very good early in games, right? It's my first time out there. I'm managing the game. I'm managing the bench. I made various mistakes that I had to go back and watch, and that's not the guy's fault. That one's on me. I got to be better. And the same way I challenge my players to be better, and my staff, I challenge myself, and I think that's the biggest thing. We accepted the challenge of, this isn't right. We have to fix it. We have to accept that we weren't very good. And I called guys out and let them know that you weren't very good. And I think it was obvious, but I didn't let them fall on the sword alone, right? Because I had to be better as well too. But I just think it's us continuing to build and grow and just stay in the moment, not thinking about what's ahead of us, opportunities or anything like that. Just being ready for the one opportunity that we had today, and that was the same Bonaventure game.
Dru, Jakob didn't lead the team in scoring, but he made quite the impact on just about every other statistical category. What did you see from him today?
Guys everywhere. He just brings so many intangibles to our team, and it really goes back to just his feel for the game, his IQ, and then he's willing to make the extra effort. He's willing to make the tough plays. He doesn't back down from any of that. And I think his toughness at times just spills through the rest of our team. So Jakob, he brings a lot of versatility to our lineup, whether he's playing at the guard spot and defending a guy 5 inches shorter than him, or he's sacrificing his body and going in there and guarding Noel Brown. He just brings the same intensity, energy, and effort. And you know, our guys, you know, they really respect what he does for our team.
Just talk a little bit about some of the, I guess, distribution of minutes throughout the lineup. Obviously, you've switched things up in terms of guys coming off the bench versus starting. How have you sort of handled that and just keeping guys happy and keeping a rotation, and especially once Jake's back?
Tell them the truth. You know, I don't sugarcoat it. I don't try to, you know, butter it up. And, like, we sit down, we talk about it. I try to help them see a vision of, or understand why I'm making this choice. And at the end of the day, I'm not making personal choices for the lack, for the sake of do I feel good. My choices are what's best for the team, right? My choices simply are about how can we win the game, and I just ask that they respect that, because if they're about winning, which they all agree that they're about, then you have to be about winning. And sometimes it's not easy, right? I'm sitting here having the conversation. Those conversations that I have with those guys, they're not easy, but they're the truth. And you have to, at some point, you have to accept the challenge in front of you, because, like I said, we agreed that we want to be winners. So you can't put your ego in front of that. You can't have your ego and your pride be bigger than the moment.
Dave was kind of the catalyst of those last few minutes. I don't know if you saw, he was kind of hanging out in the crowd at the end there. He got an ovation. But what has contributed to his growth over these last few weeks?
They gave Dave an ovation. Gotta watch out for this crowd. Dave, I think, progression. You know, Dave has battled through some tough injuries, and that can wear on you. That can get to your confidence. And I think, you know, early in the season, and even me and him, we talked about it. Even in the preseason, man, he was really struggling. Like, is this now my reality? I gotta be here an hour and a half before practice starts just to get ready for practice, and then I have to spend another hour in the training room. And man, I did all of that, and I don't feel great today. I don't feel like my old self, right? Because he battles through all of those things, and I give him a lot of praise, because even for 2 years he battled down the stretch through some injuries that needed surgery at the end of the season. Dave played through that. He's a warrior. He battled, but I think he's just getting stronger, getting more confident. He's always had these tools, right? They've been on display for a long time, and he's just finding his ways, playing good basketball. And Dave's a winner. He does not care. He don't care whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench. He's just trying to win. And I think his mindset is in that direction, and it allows him to play free and just make plays and play with energy and effort.
St. Bonaventure is arguably Duquesne's biggest rival. This is your first time as the head coach against them. Just what does it mean to get a win against that program?
Yeah, and I told the guys, you know, whether it's your first time in this matchup, third, fourth, or fifth, this one's a little bit different. It means something. But at the end of the day, like, to have a rival, like, that's fun, right? You should embrace it. You should embrace that the other side doesn't really like you, right? For whatever reason that is. Proximity, uniform color, I don't know. But, like, enjoy it, because, like, these are the games that you'll have a chance to, like, talk about, right? That you'll go back and remember those matchups against St. Bonaventure and how they played out. So I don't know what it means, man. I'm just excited we won.
Coach, I hate to ask, but you said last week that it was possible we'd see Jake DeMichael this week, and he is back in a boot. Do you have an update for us at all?
Well, listen, I wasn't lying.
No, I believe
said
you.
that, by the way. Just a setback. And that's a tough one, man, because he practiced right up before the George Washington game, and his foot didn't feel great. So I'll get some more information from our medical team. I don't know how much rest he needs at this moment until he gets back out there, but please believe Jake is trying and doing everything necessary to help this team and be a part of it.
full careers here in trade Jenkins with 6 assists today. Ever since the Towson game, you've sort of been staggering their minutes with one off the other, but lately, past couple of games, they sort of playing more together. What have you seen from them? Their more on-court chemistry that's allowed you to play both of them together without any issues.
Yeah, I think, you know, the change in the lineup, I think it helped. I think they needed to be on their own some too, but also play a core, a segment together as well. And listen, they're my two of my best passers, right? They take great care of the basketball, right? To have them both be able to be in the game at the same time and not give up much, not feel like I'm giving up rebounds or I'm in a bind defensively. You know, it helps me. You know, it helps me with those decisions because, you know, at the end of the games, right, you want to have ball security, you want to be able to get stops, and those two guards have shown that they're capable of doing both. But I think it does help them, and essentially it helped them get some breathers, right? That was the biggest thing. I was playing them 30 plus minutes when they both were starting because of what we just talked about. They take care of the basketball, they defend, but they were running out of gas. I thought towards the end of games, that last 4 minutes, I didn't have either one of them fresh. And I thought that was an issue. So I think staggering their minutes, rotating them, and then still allowing them to play together has given us a boost.
Hey, Coach, between Melvin Council and Noel Brown, I think Bonaventure had 36 points, but the rest of the team combined for just 21. How much was that a key defensively to not let some of the other guys get going and really hurt you today?
I didn't want those two guys to get going. If you had told me before, you know, we had to talk before this, I would have told you we got to stop those two from getting going. But I think here's the key: 3 for 14 from the 3-point line. We defended the 3-point line. I thought we didn't let Hinton, who's a very dangerous shooter, we didn't let him get any clean attempts really. Jones, who's another, he's shooting, I believe, 50% over the last 5 games from 3, 48% overall. I think he's right now probably percentage-wise the best shooter in the A-10, right? Taking away clean looks. And those guys have taken the majority of their shots, those 5 guys. Tonight, you know, they had to move in different ways. Chance Moore, I think, may have gotten injured over the course of that game. They had to move in a different direction. Nothing really changed. I tried to stop Council and Brown, but you know, I think our defensive pressure, not allowing, right? I thought Brown, he benefited a little bit from Council and some offensive rebounds, but I thought Council, we made him work for everything. Even though he had 17, there was always a defender in front of him contesting. So those things, like, I applaud my guys for, and we didn't give up any easy catch and shoot threes to the outside or layups. So, listen, those were the 2 who scored. I'll take it because no one else really scored, so I'm not gonna complain about it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Doug.